Okay, this is Phoenix Chicken's video blog. I am I'm thinking today about houses, and there's this song that I've been wanting to write. And I only know the one verse, but it's makes for a lot of really interesting thought experiments. The song goes, I want to build a nest in your heart. And what I visualize when I sing that is a forest of trees, and our soul, each tree is a soul. Our soul, we have a tree in us because we're shapeshifter, spiritual energy, multidimensional being things. Our soul is a tree. And it's also like in Jungian psychology, the house is an analogy for one's own psyche, for one's self. The house is an analogy for one's consciousness. And so is the tree. Trees are houses. Trees already are houses. We don't have to cut them down and chop them up to make them into houses. So many creatures live in a tree. And this is starting to connect with when I do shamanic journeying, when I go in the birch bark canoe, and when I call up my male ancestors on the right side and my female ancestors on the left side, when I call up my male ancestors, what I see are trees. But it's not just a forest standing, it's a living forest. The trees, they are dancing, they're whirling dervishes, they're like marching drum, like with whistles, and it's a parade, but it's like really like huh 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 ba da 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 huh, and like acrobatics, and it's a circus. It's a circus of trees. And when I call up my female ancestors on my right side, it's the creatures of the forest. They are the creatures of the forest. They are the birds and the predators and the prey, the mice and the fox and the lizard and the snake and the insects. I don't know, maybe insects are somewhere in between, but like the moss and the lichen and the plants growing with the trees, those are also the male ancestors. And so this song, I want to build a nest in your heart. It's a love song. It's about like falling in love with somebody. Like I want to build a nest in your heart. I want you to make a home for me in your soul. And I'll do the same. Though I already have a place for you in my heart. It's right here. Right here, see? And like, yeah. And my friend and I, who we are getting to know each other, and we're just sort of like, we've met and we're like soulmates. And she's, she had a dream, she said, about like, she has a house, and she had a room for me in the house. But it was kind of a back room with no windows, and it was dark, and in the dream she was like, Phoenix Chicken, this is the room for you, here's a place for you in my house. And then as she was showing it to me, she was thinking like, oh, Phoenix Chicken might not like this room very much, it's kind of dark, and maybe she wants something else. And then and then she realized, like, I have this other room over here. It's like a second living room that I'm not using. It's like it's got windows and light, and and it's a lovely spacious space. And like, in her dream, she offers this to me, and I'm like, oh yeah. And as she was telling me this dream, I was like, yeah, I've been feeling that way. I've been feeling like I'm in the back room of your heart, and like I want to be in the living room. So that's really, really exciting for me. I feel really good and happy. And so I'm thinking about this song. And it's like, relationships are so superficial in this culture right now, in the culture that I live in and that I experience. And I just constantly longing for deeper connection. And like that's the connection that I'm longing for. That there's a place for me in your soul. You. There's a place for you in my soul. It's a nest. It's not a grand mansion. You know, I'm not carving out chunks of myself to make space for you. It's there. It's on a branch. It's a space that was already there. But it's for you. It's been waiting for you. This is a healing to me. Like, a house is a dead tree. Like, a physical house that we build, it's dead. You know? And like, if our psyche is the space that we live in, like, imagine what it, like, the difference, like, the power, like, if your house is a tent, if your house is a tent made out of the living forest around you, you know, it happens, you bring it up when you need it, and when you don't need it, it's part of the forest again. You know, like, your house is the living forest, your house is the living tree. You know, it's like, we don't have to chop up the tree and, you know, cut it down and kill it and chop it up and make it into a box in order for it to be a house. The living, breathing forest is already a house, you know, and for that, like, in that way, like, in relationships, like, at the same time, I am the trees of the forest and I am the creatures. I am the male and female together in me. Like, every single person is, because, like, we have this physical body. The physical body doesn't necessarily change shapes, although it does. But, you know, it's the emotional, spiritual body. Like, we'll still have this human figure, these organs, this skeleton, when our physical bodies change shape. But, like, what is the difference in the physical body between an indigenous person who lives in the Arctic versus the physical body of an indigenous person who lives on the plains, or an indigenous land-based person who lives in the jungle? Like, their bodies, our bodies as humans, change shape to fit our environment. And this obesity epidemic of North America it's a, you know, it's an epidemic of malnourishment. And, like, our bodies have changed shape to match our environment. Like, of boxes and starched food and bloated, cancerous cultural practices. Like, we gotta be the living forest. We gotta be the living forest. So when I think of that living forest, I think of, like, all of my community, like, my community together. Like, I have a nest. I'm gonna build a nest in your heart, in your tree, and you build a nest in my heart, in my tree, because yes, I am the entire forest. At the same time, I am the tree. I am the bird and the creatures and the plants that live in the tree, and the fox and everything. And at the same time, if we're not, like, at the same time, we're all interwoven. We're all of those things at the same time, and like each other. And the more we weave that together, the stronger it is. The stronger our ecology is. The stronger the ecosystem is. So, I want to build a nest in your heart. And I want you to build a nest in my heart. I mean, maybe not anybody and everybody, but, like, you know, people I like in my community. Yeah.